Who are you? Ask this question. Who are you really? Not what Instagram says, not what professors say, not what society says, not what mom and dad say. Who are you truly? Discover this for yourself. And then it has power, then it has impact. And then you can get your message out there and people will feel your truth. Because when I talk, I don't plan any of this shit. Obviously. I don't rehearse any of this shit. I don't need to. Daisy, you know why? Because I'm spilling my heart on the page. I'm speaking my truth. And I finally, at 43 years old, 43 years young, I finally got comfortable that I can come in and spit my wisdom readings. I finally got comfortable being uncomfortable with what's going to happen next and not worrying about it. Because even if I feel pain, it doesn't mean jack. I won't feel suffering because it's a choice. I won't let it define me. I won't let it tell me who I really am because I know who I really am. I want this for every single one of you. This is what Aristotle was talking about. When you truly know who you are in here, and this is the dude I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about this dude. This dude is about problems coming. This dude right here. If you dive deep into your chest, and that's what writing is, 18 to 24, it's a beautiful age of discovery. If you don't know what the F you want to do, guess what? I didn't either. I had no clue. I was like, an adult? I don't want to be an adult. When my senior year, I was panic-stricken my senior year. I'm 43 years old and I'm the happiest mother-father on the planet. I can't wait to turn 50. I can't wait to turn 60. I can't wait to turn 93. I think as human beings, we get better with age. You guys are just little tadpoles right now. And I know that sounds like almost like blasphemous, and it sounds like an insult, but it's not. It's not. When I was 20, 21, I didn't know jack about jack. I'm 43 right now, and I feel like now is the perfect time that I know what I should have done when I was 26. I remember turning 29 years old. I broke up with a girl. I was in a relationship. We lived in Los Angeles. And I thought I was going to marry this chick. I was with her for 6 years. That's like a small marriage, if you think about it. That's a long time, bro. I remember turning 29. Was it Rebecca?
Yeah.
It was Rebecca, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Rebecca, I turned 29.
I'm 29.
Are you really?
Yes.
Okay, Rebecca, please look at me right now. Please look at me. I want you to heed this. I thought 29 was the end of my life. I thought 29 was first of all, 29, it's like the ugliest number in the book. Like 29, I'm almost 30. I just got out of this I have no clue what I'm gonna do. I went and got my master's late in life. Just maybe like what you're doing, right? And get your degree later.
Undergrad.
That's fine, that's fine. But guess what, Rebecca? I thought it was over. I thought things were bad. I thought, I had this perception that, well, this is what everybody said. Everybody said you have to be married by 30. Everybody said I had to have success by 30. Everybody said I had to have a house by 30. Everybody said I had to have kids by, you know what I mean? My point is this, it's all BS. It doesn't matter. It has no bearing on who you are because everybody develops at their own pace. And I've discovered this late in life. And 29 is a beautiful number because 30 is literally like you're starting your life and you don't really start making your real money and career till your 40s and 50s anyway. And so plus time doesn't mean anything. It's not, I have to reach a certain point by a certain point. That doesn't mean anything. What matters most is, do I know how to encapsulate attention? Do I know how to share my story with the world? Because that's how you're going to become a biochemist of the best of the biochemists. That's how you're going to be a coach. That's how you're going to become a business person, a businesswoman, businessman. That's how you're going to become a firefighter, a pharmacist. It all starts with getting your message out there. And so when you know who you truly are, neither friend nor foe can touch you. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be affected by things. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have your off days. But this is about perspective. When I say, David, Alex,
yeah,
say I'm not that bad. I want to pick on somebody else. Alex, go back to sleep. Excuse me. First name?
Trisha.
Trisha. I'm kidding, Alex. Trisha, What do I mean when I say pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice? What do I mean by that?
It means like what you said, like about perspective, that you can choose to either internalize the pain and keep it going for a long time, or you can say, okay, this is how I'm feeling right now, but this is what I can work towards, or this is how I can feel later.
Yes, everything comes and goes. Rebecca, guess what? I hate to break it to you guys, but even you and I come and go. Everybody that you've ever known, Genghis Khan, Shakespeare, President Lyndon Johnson, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, Eleanor Roosevelt. I'm watching this documentary on Roosevelt, so that's in my brain right now. Everybody's come and go. The sun keeps going up, the sun keeps coming down. Dinosaurs came and went, right? This is where we need to be comfortable with this idea, which is a truth. And by the way, verify everything for yourselves. First name again?
Chloe.
Chloe, you'll never hear another professor say this. Kevin, are you ready for this? Rebecca, you're not ready for this.
I'm not.
Are you looking at me, Rebecca?
Yes.
Don't ever forget this. You'll never hear another professor on the planet say this. I want you to think I'm completely full of shit. I do.
No.
Now, why would I say that? First name right here.
Yes.
Christina, why would I say that? That I want you to think that I'm completely full of shit. Nez, I paid a lot of money for this class. Excuse me, Nez, aren't you supposed to be the professor teaching us? Right? Is it getting hot in here? Why would I say that I want you to think I'm completely full of shit? Why, Rebecca? I actually want you to. Alex, I know it sounds crazy. Trisha, I'm not forgetting about you.
So-
Bria, I'm still coming back to you.
So we
Why would I say that?
rely on ourselves more.
Beautiful. Because there's all sorts of people who have ideas and images in their head and experiences. And yes, they're here to guide you and nurture you. But when you discover your own truth by verifying everything, by finding out for yourself. Why does Nez say knowing your audience is tantamount to my success? Why does Nez say mindset and messaging? What the hell does that even mean? What does Nez know about communicating your purpose, communicating your truth with efficacy and conciseness? Why does that matter? Don't just sit in class and nod your head and say, yes, teacher. Yes, this is a beautiful college. It's a beautiful campus. It's an esteemed, privileged, prestigious university. And yes, of course they vet their professors and instructors, right? But still, if something, this is what I always say, and I quote my favorite writer of all time. Any creative writers in here? Where's my creative writers? How many people know who the Godfather is? Walt Whitman. We know who Walt Whitman is?
Oh yeah.
Leaves of Grass?
Yeah.
One of the greatest books ever. By the way, I'm going to give you a gift. Sean, you ready for this? Look at me. Sean, you looking at me? Sean's like, somebody get this guy a decaf. Okay, Sean, look at me. So I'm going to give you a gift at the end of the semester. Trisha, you're going to love this. Bria, I have not forgotten you. You think I have? Trisha, I'm coming back. Hey, Sean, I'm going to give you a list of books that literally dropped atomic bombs in my brain when I was a kid, 18 to 30. I read these books. Now, it's not every book that I ever read, obviously, but it's probably the most powerful. It's a list of 15 books. And I need somebody to remind me. Sean, I'm going to hold it on you. Daisy, you remind Sean. Trisha, you remind Daisy. At the end of the semester, I'm going to pass out this gift. And I want to make sure that these are books that they're free. Not only are they free, but they're books that I read. If anything that I say to you hits you in your chest level, not this level, but anything resonates with you today, you're going to love this gift I'm going to give you at the last day of the semester. Trisha. And Bria, I haven't forgotten you. Suffering is a choice. What happens is you have pain, right? And I've got a shit ton of content that covers all this stuff, which you should all go check out. You have pain, something happens to you. How it turns into suffering is how you view the pain, how you interpret the pain. So something bad happens, and what we end up doing is we end up taking it with us everywhere, right? Like I had a bad experience in class. So we walk out the door, instead of letting that kind of be like, okay, that sucked, but it doesn't define my reality, we take that with us. And then guess what? That energy needs to go somewhere else. It's called energy transference. Einstein talked about this. That energy needs to go somewhere else. Energy is literally the binding of the universe, right? It is the mortar of the universe, is energy. Everything is energy. And so we take that, and who do we transfer it to? Usually our loved ones. Usually our friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever, parents. And then that gets transferred. You see what I'm saying here? This is why it's so important to get your mindset right before you can get your message right. Because if you don't know who you are, you're not going to get a gig. You're not going to be able to nail that interview. You're not going to be able to start that endeavor, that new project, that new business, that new film, whatever it is. That new pharmacy, that new project in biochemistry or what have you. You're not going to be able to execute any of that if this thing isn't right first, because you have to get this thing right in order to communicate that. And if you can't communicate that, going back to you, Bria, remember the piece of paper? See, Bria, you thought I was going to forget you. Remember how I said everybody is going to get a piece of paper?
Yes.
But what's going to make you stand out is goes beyond that piece of paper. What was the learning that you're able to transfer into the real world with that piece of paper? Who are you? What problem can you solve? And how can you serve your audience? Those are the 3 pillars of Nez's class. Who are you? I want to get your mindset right. I want to dive deep into that dome of yours and try to figure out what's going on in there. And again, like I said, 18 to 24 is a beautiful age of discovery. So if you don't know what you want to do, don't worry about it.
My problem isn't I don't know what I want to do. It's how do I fund it?
Ooh, that's a beautiful problem to have.
That's my problem.
That's a great problem to
Yeah.
have, because I can tell you 6 million ways to do that.
Great.
So you and I need to talk.
Yes.
We can
absolutely.
chat.
Cool.
Yes. We will have a sit down and I'll tell you exactly how you fund it.
Awesome.
That's beautiful. That's a great problem to have.
Yeah.
And is this a business, a project, or what is this? An organization,
write-
nonprofit?
I want to write books,
Right.
but in the meantime, I'll do anything to get to that point.
When you say you want to write books, you want to be a
Yeah.
novelist?
Yes.
Yeah, so you need something to supplement your income.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you have to ask yourself first, what do you need to be able to survive to enable you the freedom to do what you really love, which is communicating beautiful stories, which, by the way, guys, don't get it twisted. Business writing is storytelling. Business is storytelling. All those commercials you saw on the Super Bowl ads last night, you don't see something that just says, hey, buy my shit, $99.99. No, what do? They do a really elaborate story. Freaking baby nut, peanut, whatever. How many people saw that? Anybody saw that last night?
Mr. Peanut, no!
Yeah, exactly. And I thought the Bill Murray one was great. I thought Groundhog's Day, right?
Big Bill Murray fan.
Big Bill Murray fan. Love Bill Murray. Yeah. And that's all storytelling. But guess what? They're selling products. I mean, nobody gives a crap about a Jeep Rubicon. But guess what? If you're going to tell me a beautiful story, and you're going to use people that I can relate to, and I really are relevant people, that's going to grab my attention. This is what this class is really about. After you get your mindset right, you have to grab attention. And a piece of paper, a 2-dimensional context, isn't going to cut it. Creating content. Your Instagram is not just for posting you getting coffee, here's my mochaccino, yay! Hashtag mochaccino. You actually can build it's modern communications. That's what it is. Kevin, LinkedIn, it's where all the money is. Facebook is dead. It's where grandma and grandpa go to buy like 99-cent lighters, okay? Instagram TikTok is huge right now. LinkedIn, right? YouTube, holy macadamia nut. Alex, you're gonna laugh at this. I have a YouTube channel that I'm extremely proud of. It's not just a YouTube channel where it's just, oh, look at me, I'm a YouTuber. Not even close. And that term doesn't mean anything to me. I leverage YouTube because I understand where people are commiserating, where people are, where the attention is. This right here is the essentially it's the #1 network cocktail party in the universe. This is where everybody's cooking. This is where everybody's banking. This is where everybody's hiring. This is where everybody's buying, purchasing, going to school, online learning, right? Everything. Sorry, I might grab that a couple more times. This is where it's all about, right? Right, Alex, right? Alex, yeah. So I'm going to tell a really quick story, and then I want to go back to mindset. Bria, I haven't forgotten about you. I just want to tell you a really quick story because my father, he asked my son, who's almost 8. He said, Sam, my son's name is Samuel. He said, Sam, what do you want to do when you grow up? And what do you think his answer was? Anybody? First name right here. Christina. What's your first name right here?
Natalie.
Natalie, why do you look familiar? You were in my class.
No.
Never?
No.
All right, Natalie, what do you think his answer was? Christina, I'm coming to you next.
Firefighter.
Okay, Christina?
Yes, Dad.
He wants to be his dad? God, what a terrible life. No, I'm kidding. Bria, what do you think his answer was?
I was gonna say what his dad does.
What his dad does?
Yeah.
Okay, so both of you guys are actually close. So Kevin, you know what he said to my dad? I want to be a YouTuber like my dad. And my grandfather, my dad, his grandfather, was like, what kind of shit is that, right? Because he doesn't know what YouTube is, from tube U to UU or hoo-hoo, right? And so I said, Dad, I'm not a YouTuber, right? And this is what I want, this is a huge parallel to this class, to you guys and your life. I'm not a YouTuber. I leverage YouTube for my business and my brand. I cannot tell you how many times I've had a potential client or a potential company say, hey Nez, I saw your amazing YouTube video talking about how to not get offended, or talking about how to search for a job in the marketplace, or how to build a brand from scratch. And I just want to tell you, I was really moved and it was inspiring. I want to hire you. Fantastic. Boom, here's a check for $5,000. Hey Nez, I saw your podcast. I listened to your podcast on Spotify the other day. How you were talking about, the 8 steps to becoming an online business owner. Do you mind if I hire you to come present to our sales team and our marketing team? Sure. What's your company? IBM? I would love to. Sweet. Here's a check for $25,000. Like I'm not saying this shit to brag. Like, I'm old and decrepit, right? You guys are young and beautiful and intelligent, way more intelligent than my generation. So how can a biochemist leverage YouTube? Amazingly. Again, especially if you're young and you know what I mean? Like, this is like your era. How you leverage YouTube is you understand, like I can think of your first piece of content. Hi, my name's Adena and I'm studying to be a biochemistry major at Chapman or whatever it is, right? And I'm going to share with you 3 things that I've learned in the past. What are you, a junior, sophomore?
Junior.
I'm going to share with you 3 things that I've learned in the past 3 years of attending my university that I think may help you, especially if you're a freshman. Somebody's going to see that. Somebody like a big, huge bio company might see that on LinkedIn, especially if you post it on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not just a place where you put your resume anymore. LinkedIn is a branding platform, right? And so somebody might see that video and go, who's this? I don't know. Well, let's watch the video, okay? All it takes is 1. You don't need 5 million subscribers. You don't need 20 million views. It takes just the right person. And if you target it right, and you understand who you are, and you define your brand message beautifully, guess what? That one person can mean the difference between living with your parents and buying a beautiful beachfront condo. And inviting your friends for the housewarming party and getting a bunch of dope shit, and they're gonna ask you that question. Hey Adena, how did this happen? I created some content that actually communicated my truth purposely, and this CEO of this bio company whose stocks went up like 20% in Q4 called me up and said, we wanna hire you. I don't have to live with mom and dad anymore. You wanna know how to fund your lifestyle? Bria, with you, because I can tell the way you're looking at me, this is hitting you. Bria, look at me right now. You have a vision. You're a good communicator, I can tell that. You're intelligent because you know what you want to do. And you also have a persona and an aura about you. Put out dope-ass content that provides information, that demonstrates, rather than a piece of paper that says I graduated. Put out content that shows the world who you are. Because you know what the number one reason most of you guys don't create content? Can anybody tell me? What's the number one reason? Trisha.
We're afraid that we won't succeed.
Yes. Brilliant. Extra credit. Just for being honest, I'm going to give you extra credit. Did you hear what Trisha said, Danica? Annika or Danica?
Danica.
I'm sorry. What's my man's name right here? Saul, that's right. Saul, did you hear what Trisha said?
Yeah.
We're afraid that it won't be good. We're afraid that we won't succeed. We're afraid of other people's
Judgment.
Yes. That's probably number 1. And any jerk can get up there and do it, y'all. The reason that you're nervous about that is because you're a good human being. That's why. And actually, you should have that thought. That means that you actually care. How many people know who Elvis Presley is? Who's Elvis Presley, Rebecca?
king of rock. Well,
He's the, no, don't get into it. He's the greatest entertainer of all time.
okay, there you go.
Anybody argues with me on that? You're out of my class. I'm kidding. I have a little bit of an obsession. What's your first name? Lizette, sorry, but I love Elvis way too much. So Elvis, I mean, let's just look at it. Let's come back down to earth, Nez. But Elvis, yes, was one of the pioneers of rock and roll. If it wasn't for Elvis, there'd be no Beatles, there'd be no Rolling Stones, there'd be no Led Zeppelin. The list goes on and on. Ozzy Osbourne, the Stooges, Iggy Pop, punk rock. None of that would have existed if it wasn't for Elvis, because our great-great-grandparents were listening to "If you love somebody, you wanna be loved." That's the kind of music that our grandparents were listening to. And then Elvis introduced all the crazy shit, right? And so Elvis did shows up until his last day on earth, when he died tragically. And one of his last shows, he was throwing up before the show. And his manager, Colonel Parker, came up to me and said, "Elvis, what's wrong, man? What happened? Tell me, what's going on? Are you sick?" And he says, "No, I'm just getting a little bit of stage fright here." And Colonel Parker said, if you don't know who Colonel Parker is, he's a very famous road manager, a music industry manager, and Elvis's manager. And Colonel Parker said, "You're nervous, like you're Elvis Presley. You've done this a million times. You're scared enough to actually throw up?" And Elvis said, without even hesitating, without skipping a beat, he said, "Yeah, you know why? Because there's an audience out there that has an expectation of me, and I care about delivery. That's why. This means more to me than you can even imagine," Colonel Parker. And they actually didn't really get along as well, because Colonel Parker, like most managers in that era, was taking advantage of Elvis and taking a lot of royalties that he shouldn't have. Which, by the way, if you guys ever get into entertainment, I know a lot of this is one of the greatest film schools, music schools, etc. Anybody going into music or film or anything like that, or acting, theater? Sean, you're not a theater guy?
Oh God.
No? Okay.
I play a lot of
You
D&D.
have a great personality. I think you should. So check this out, guys. Be careful of who you manage and who manages your money. Be careful of who manages, especially writers. Oh my God, writers. How many people want to become professional writers? I mean, writers get taken advantage of all the time. So be careful. I've been taken advantage of. Me. And my wife always calls me the bull. I don't let anybody take advantage of me, right? And so even I did. So just because you're naive and you're like, "Oh, okay, that sounds cool. I just want to get published," right? So be careful, be mindful of your management and your money, right? What time is it? How much time do we have? We have 10 minutes? Okay, so what Trisha's saying, what Elvis is saying, and what I'm saying right now, the number one thing that's holding you back, let's get back to this, is this dude right here, whose favorite words is, "You can't create content." What's this guy Nez talking? Nez is full of shit. Don't listen to this dumb professor. He didn't even shave this morning. What do you think? This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah, he has a website. I know that dude is in some of your ears right now. I know he is. I know he's in your ears. I was sorry. I was rushing out of the house. I had to drop my kid off at school. I didn't shave. Sue me. I usually do, but I didn't this time. I apologize. So I want to share something very intimate. Bria, I haven't forgotten you. I want to share something very intimate, and I hope this is something that somebody can relate to. And this is why I feel like the book list is going to really come in handy too. From the ages of 18 to 29, I suffered from what you might call debilitating anxiety and depression. It was literally 10 years of just a living hell. I was scared to even leave the house. It got so bad at one point because I was living with roommates, 19 to 25, I was living with some roommates. I wasn't living at home. I moved back home at 26. It got so bad that at one point, I actually bought a firearm thinking, I'm gonna pull a Hamlet, to be or not to be. And I can't do this anymore. I took every medication. I went and saw every doctor secretly without telling my parents because I knew my parents would flip out. And there was such a stigma back then. I'm so glad that people are actually talking about this stuff now, because back then it was like, if you even mentioned that stuff, you were considered a major wuss or whatever. And thank God I didn't do it, but I was really close. And I think the only reason I didn't do it was because of my parents, because they would have lost their shit. They would have just lost their shit if I did that. And this was over 20 years ago, and now I'm 43 years old, and I'm the happiest dude on earth. and I give speeches all over the world, all over the country as well. I got a speech coming up next week at a medical conference. Speaking of medical conferences, I might be able to get you into that, by the way. Have you heard of MDM West? It's the medical device tech. It's tech and medical device. I'm giving a presentation on LinkedIn and personal branding there. I never thought this could be me. When I was going through the end, my point is this, guys. This is my point. This is the apex. This is everything. Listen to this. I thought my life was over. I never thought I'd be able to do what I wanted to do. I was kicking God. I was yelling and cursing the gods. How could you do this to me? Why are you making me feel this? Why? Because this dude in here was dominating me. The dude inside my head, who's the ultimate bully. He's the ultimate politician. He's the ultimate salesman. He can persuade you. He's so good, Sean, that every time you look in the mirror, he can actually convince you that that's the ugliest reflection that the world has ever seen. And you know that shit ain't true. You have to get your mindset right before you get your message right. And when you get your message right, then you can communicate who you are, why people should hire you, why people should work with you, why should people buy your book, why should people do business with you, why should people incorporate you in their medical, pharmacy, bio, whatever. Why should people love you? Why should this person marry you? If you can't communicate, because I'm going to tell you something else, why communication is everything, and why messaging is everything. And back up for just a second, it starts with mindset. Looks only last about 5 minutes. If there's nothing beyond that, everything else goes to shit. I've seen the most beautiful people in my life, men and women, literally deteriorate in front of my eyes as soon as they open their mouth. Looks only last. I've met the most beautiful woman I thought when I was younger, ever. And then as soon as she started talking, she got ugly fast. What's my point? Communication is everything. And if you communicate from here and not here, watch what happens. Beautiful things will happen.